No enemy will ever even dream of threatening America's Navy. There's no Navy.
At exactly 4:17 local time, the Caribbean horizon was a vast, unbroken sheet of black ink. Through that darkness, the USS George Washington, a steel continent displacing over 100,000 tons, moved at a steady 20 knots. The carrier strike group was a symphony of perfect nighttime rhythm, radar sweeps humming, turbines whispering, the watch teams settling into their pre-dawn routine. Then the calm broke. 3 Venezuelan fast patrol vessels materialized from the eastern quadrant, their wakes cutting sharp, V-shaped scars into the black water. They were not drifting or observing, they were charging. At 28 knots and accelerating, they punched the sea aside like a direct challenge. In seconds, they sliced across the projected path of the U.S. carrier group. Creating a living wall of steel and outright defiance. Aboard the George Washington, alarms flared across the command deck. Collision warnings echoed off bulkheads as red lights blinked across the radar stations. The range dropped under 12 nautical miles in moments. The maneuver was too precise to be accidental, too aggressive to be routine. Venezuela wasn't signaling, they were declaring. The carrier's bridge fell into a tense, operational silence. Tactical callouts confirmed the geometry. Bearings narrowing, the closest point of approach, CPA, collapsing, speed constant. The Venezuelan vessels were locking into what naval analysts call attack geometry, an angle designed to force a decision at the highest possible stakes: hold course or yield. Venezuela was betting on American hesitation, counting on the world's most powerful navy to flinch first. They were wrong. The carrier group did not turn, did not slow, and did not alter a single degree of heading. The George Washington cut forward, a massive blade pushing through a thin barrier. By 4:19 a.m., the patrol ships tightened their formation. The V-shape narrowed into a spear point aimed directly at the carrier's forward axis. Their navigation lights glared with a defiant brightness, a warning and a dare glowing against the Black Sea. The patrol boats did not move like innocent coast guards. They maneuvered like a rehearsal strike element, carving the American course into 3 deliberate, defiant slices. On the carrier bridge, officers knew precisely what this was: a manufactured crisis designed to capture broadcast leverage and show a regional power standing up to a global one. Venezuela wanted a moment. They were about to get a lesson instead. The USS gravely moved first. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyer surged forward from her escort position on the starboard quarter. Turbines spooled higher, wake frothed, and the destroyer cut a new, immediate trajectory, a deliberate knife-edge arc that placed her hull directly into the intercept corridor. There was no radio message, no siren, no warning barked, just steel moving into dominance. This was the naval equivalent of stepping between a threat and the person you are protecting. Out here, positioning is power. The ship that claims the angle owns the confrontation. The Gravely glided into the Venezuelan path with the precision of a warship that had fought this battle 1,000 times in simulations. Her bow angled just enough to say, "This is your line, and you will not cross it." Above the destroyer, an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter spun its rotors to life, its rising scream cutting across the carrier deck as it ascended into the gray pre-dawn sky. It banked into orbit directly over the intercept line, a hawk marking its hunting circle. Its presence alone was a message. We see everything. We miss nothing. The helicopter's FLIR turret instantly locked onto each Venezuelan hull, capturing every bow wave, every throttle change, and every thermal signature, feeding it all back into the strike group's Aegis tactical picture. The Venezuelan vessels, meanwhile, held their speed. They weren't testing the radar. They were testing American resolve. The Gravely answered with subtle, silent escalation. The Mk-45 5-inch gun slowly, deliberately rotated, not targeting, not locking, just presenting a silent message in steel. We are ready. The CIWS dome shifted in passive scan mode, and sensors warmed. The Venezuelan captains saw it, the destroyer bracing, coiled, and prepared. Yet they held course, pushing the formation into the high threat range under 4 nautical miles, a distance where reaction time compresses into seconds and one wrong turn becomes a global crisis. The George Washington maintained her steady 20-knot pace without the slightest change in vibration. Her massive hull was a symbol of non-deviation, non-hesitation. The silence between the two forces became a weapon in itself. On the Gravely, technicians read the engine harmonics from the Venezuelan ships, signatures showing high throttle, aggressive maneuvering, and absolutely no intention of yielding. The Seahawk's thermal footage confirmed the patrol boat's wakes, power still surging, intent still hardening. Then came the psychological turning point. The Gravely transmitted a single, standard maritime broadcast across open frequency. A message every sailor on every sea recognizes as the line in the sand. Unidentified Venezuelan vessels, you are approaching a United States Navy carrier strike group operating in accordance with international maritime law. Maintain safe distance and alter course. It was calm, steady, and public. The Venezuelans responded with a mute, visual defiance. Flags snapped brightly, signals aimed toward the sky, territorial claims and political gestures wrapped in maritime code. They refused to speak, refused to yield, refused to acknowledge the American broadcast. The silence became thunder. Their bows were now slicing into the 3-mile mark. The Gravely held her angle like a steel wall. The carrier group did not budge. 3 minutes passed without a word. 3 minutes of growling engines and pure psychological warfare at 20 knots. Then came the break. Sensors aboard the Gravely caught a shift. Tiny, almost imperceptible, but decisive. The lead Venezuelan vessel eased off throttle. Speed dropped from the high 20s to 18 knots. The others followed. It was a softening wake, a widening angle, the first crack in the facade. De-escalation had begun. The V-shape loosened, and the spear point dulled. Their formation began to slide east-southeast, a slow, reluctant drift that telegraphed the truth. They were withdrawing without admitting it. The George Washington did not acknowledge the retreat, did not alter course, did not even blink. The massive carrier cut ahead as though Venezuela's dramatic gamble had been nothing more than a minor ripple on her morning transit. The Seahawk watched the patrol vessels peel away, their once aggressive wakes now curving like defeated brushstrokes across the sea. On the Gravely, the tension evaporated into cold professionalism. Weapons returned to neutral sleep. The destroyer calmly resumed her escort station. Venezuela had tested the line, the United States had held it, and the sea remembered. In the end, no missiles armed, no shots fired, no collision, and no concessions. Just 3 fast patrol boats turning away from a force that would not move. For those watching, the message was sharper than steel. Presence is power, position is dominance, and the nation that refuses to turn holds the ocean. This was a testament to American discipline, a reminder that no enemy ever dreams of challenging the United States Navy head-on.